Hello everybody, Jose Rodriguez back again. When you update your firmware or possibly update your operating system, make sure you go back to your printer driver and check the settings that you saved. I don't know about the Mac drivers, but in Windows you can actually access the driver outside of your editing software and just basically set it up for a certain paper, certain settings, certain anything, and save it. And then when you open up whatever the printing application you're using, it will actually revert back to the new default settings you created and not the ones that are set up by the driver when you first install it. But again, if you update your firmware, there's a possibility that the driver settings will go back to their original default condition. And you may forget about checking, and then you print something and it's printing differently. It's producing a different output, not the one that you originally were enjoying, if you will, and you went ahead and saved it. Now, in order to avoid that, whether you're using Mac OS or whether you're using Windows, doesn't really matter. QImage will allow you to save every single aspect of that particular print job. If you just have one printer and you print on only one paper, it's a piece of cake. You never have to worry about it changing on you behind your back. Once you save that setup, in other words, the paper size, the paper surface, of course, the printer you are using, what else? Well, how about the ICC profile? How about color management within the driver? In other words, if you're going to let QImage control color, you want the driver not to control color. QImage does that for you automatically. If I was printing with some other application, I would have to manually go into my driver and turn that off. QImage does that for you automatically. So again, don't be surprised. This is going to be a short one. Don't be surprised if you update your firmware. That's probably the one that affects this the most. I've had several people tell me this, and maybe do a major update, whether it's Windows 11, Windows 10, OS, whatever in Mac, whatever version you're using, and you update the firmware on your printer, then what will happen is that your settings may go back to their original default conditions. And those are not the ones that you're going to be using for printing. Believe me, they do not give you default conditions that are meant for photographic printing. So keep that in mind. So again, that's going to be it. A very, very short video. It's very uncharacteristic of this guy. I go on for many, 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 many minutes sometimes. All right, so that's going to be it. Again, remember that. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And as always, happy printing, everybody. Bye-bye.